Hello and welcome to On the Table. We are broadcasting on RTM Click and My TV's Berita RTM channel 123, which is also live streaming on Facebook. I'm your host, Brendan Lepore. Good evening and thank you for joining us once again. Now, effective 1st of January, social media and internet messaging services with at least 8 million registered users here in the country, Malaysia, are required to apply for Application Service Provider Class ASPC license. Now, this new regulatory requirement is deemed capable of enhancing platform accountability in controlling content with negative elements. So joining us today to talk about this is Associate Professor Dr. Sarah Chinnasamy, Political and Social Media Analyst from Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, UiTM Shah Alam. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us here on the table.
Thank you for having me, Brendan.
Prof, of course, we're going to talk about this particular topic today, which is at the utmost importance when we talk about social media. As you know, information is being spread, is being shared from all over. And on the other hand, we have also irresponsible users and so on. Now, before we dive in deeper, let's jump to the first question first, Prof. How will the licensing system enhance online safety and user protection?
Okay, the first thing is I would like to applaud Ministry of Communication to introduce social media regulatory framework. And this is a very crucial step forward to safeguard our online environment despite increasingly online fraud, financial fraud on our social media platform. So even though there are a lot of resistance that we've been receiving from the civil society movement and internet observers, right, on the questioning about suppression of freedom of expression and also arguing about the level of mainstream media freedom of expression. But here now we deal with the increase of financial fraud, which need public attention. And at the same time, the public have been exposed to the sophisticated technology advancement where indirectly it's exposed the public to and also the authorities to confront a lot of cyber-related crimes here. And you know, Brendan, I would like to share to you, according to the World Internet Statistic, our population is hitting about 34 million. And out of this figure, 28 million Malaysians are actively involved on internet consumption. And briefly, we are about 6 million those who are not utilizing the internet. So that could be the category of elders, or they could be those who are below 15 years old. So these indicate that how active Malaysians are on a social media platform. On daily basis, they are engaged about 8 hours, 4 hours on social media platform, and another 4 more hours on other platforms. So it's important for the government, right, to, you know, we have to consider about the government approach on implementing this social media licensing because they wanted to secure, you know, safe environment and also at the same time safeguarding the user. And in addition, to review the existing legislation, whether it's aligned together with the existing convergence technology growth.
Now, Prof, you just mentioned that, of course, we have like a certain amount of users here in Malaysia. They're probably below 15 years old. They're probably the older community who's away from the internet. Now, it's fantastic that you mentioned that because these days, education has incorporated social learning in the sense that students need to go online to get their syllabus, to do their homework, so on and so forth. So they are actually exposed. Now, from what you just mentioned, will this eventually combat the spread of misinformation and harmful content? What do you think?
Definitely, it's an interesting question. And we had that kind of scenario during the pandemic, where it's encouraged us to do the teaching and learning on online environment.
Oh, yes.
But now, with the proposal and also implementation of a new regulatory framework on the social media platform, I would believe that it will help the online users to be secured, and at the same time, it's protected the users in a secure and protected environment. Okay, we are concerned about the increasing numbers of online financial frauds, basically.
Right.
And it's seek the global community and also the global government attention on that particularly. So I believe that with the increase, with the implementation of proposed social media platform, I would believe that it would create a secure online environment for the people. And one more thing that I would like to quote here, as a social media analyst, I would say that in Malaysia, we have a variety of trend on consuming the social media platforms. Okay, initially we could see that those who are aged 20 to 30, they are this group people, they are very prominent on Twitter, where the hashtag played a very important role for them
Yes, that's right.
to convey the messages. And the group 35 to 65, they are prone to the Facebook content. And now we could see that TikTok played a very important role. And I would say that TikTok and WhatsApp is both platform bridging the recent exponential growth of the online platform, where it's open for everyone and easy access.
Yeah. Now, Prof, you just mentioned that, we have different target audience using different platforms. It's so much so that we can say it depends on what social media application that you use. It speaks about your age, huh, Doctor? Anyways, now you've mentioned that this data protection, it's very important, and it's being rolled out by the government so that it creates a very pleasant environment. Now, let's talk about something here that could compromise this whole agenda altogether. We're talking about data privacy and also security. Now, how do you see this with this implementation? It can help approve this, as opposed to being seen as a surveillance act on our rakyats.
Okay, I don't think so that the implemented social media licensing could react as a civilian act on the people, because it's more to the government objective to provide privacy and secure online environment, especially on the financial online perspective. And in many commentaries, I have mentioned that this social media licensing will benefit the authorities, especially in gathering the important data on the financial crimes. And at the same time, the analysis and the gathering data, it will help the authorities to detect and identify financial crimes across the sectors and also across the region. That's why in my commentaries that I always encourage that Malaysian government need to encourage greater reporting on financial crimes, because or daily reporting on this type of issue, it will literate the people when they're reading that kind of news, and they indirectly they will know that which sources that could tempt them to be the suspect of financial crime. And at the same time, it would help to invest on the capacity building and also training for law enforcement. And the law enforcement is one of the most important part, because as the technology grows and we are in a technology convergence phases, there are a lot of new applications. They're
being made every single time.
And and it's really putting pressure to every sector of our society, not only institution of the family, and you have to monitor the children movement on the social media platform. And one more thing, Brendan, the parents themselves have to be literate in terms of a digital device.
Right.
So they have to know about type of a platform, how to conduct that particular platform, and at the same time to monitor their children movement on that particular social media platform. And sometimes if the parents, they are not literate about the digital gadget, they have to ask maybe the neighbors or the friends to know what their children been posted on the social media platform. So as time goes, it's a huge impact and burden to the family institution to understand about this convergence.
Right. Now, speaking about this convergence about parents and also the government movements in making sure that everything is good out there in the social media world, do you think, Prof, in short, this is going to complement the existing Malaysia's Personal Data Protection Act, which is the PDPA? What are your thoughts on this?
I believe that government initiative is to provide a safer online environment.
That's right.
And it's a good time, a good move to encounter the increasing number of online financial frauds. And we can see that last year, more than billions that people been cheated on online scams.
Yes.
So this is the most important part where it's need local and global community attention and what the global governments could do to combat this system.
Yeah, it's a very tricky area that we are touching here. But of course, with this particular framework, it does not breach someone's security and privacy altogether with regards to the agenda that's rolling out by the government. Now, Prof, I would like to bring you to this question. Now, some might say that, this licensing framework altogether could grant the government access power to control online speech, potentially leading to censorship and also suppression of dissenting voices. Now, could the licensing requirements stifle freedom of speech and also expression altogether? Okay,
I would put it this way: to avoid speculation and emotional judgmental towards the implementations of social media licensing, I think the Ministry of Communication, they need to clearly define what are those social media platforms and what specification needed so that there's no any speculation being discussed or any discourses toward create a speculation among the people. While we know that this licenses is a very important, but information sharing across the sectors and across the regions is very, very important. And the measurement, of course, we wanted to conduct a safer online system and at the same time a better user experience with ethical code. So this is the part that very important, and I'm sure that we have to consider the government approach to provide a safe and a conducive environment. And we know that, even though we have been arguing about the level of media expression and suppression, but I don't think so, because that would be highly help the mainstream media to disseminating their information on what's happening around the world.
Right. Thank you, Prof, for sharing that. Now, let's come back to this particular one. You are definitely an advocate for better internet services, better social media regulations and regulators out there to do their part. But can you actually share with us, any other countries with a successful model of social media licensing to serve as best practices example for us in Malaysia?
I don't think so. There's any single country that could, be exemplary to Malaysia on, social media regulatory framework. Okay, but what we can do is we could adopt certain legislation from the other countries. For example, Germany, they enacted the Network Enforcement Act, which required those social media platforms to remove their hatred content or illegal content within 24 hours. And they may face up to, if I'm not mistaken, 60 million damages claim, if been reported. And at the same time, Germany authorities required the social media to report it 6 months once about reported issues and what type of measurements that been taken by the German. And of course, some other countries, for example, like we could see that in May 2020, France passed a new law requesting social media platform to remove certain hateful content with fine euro 1.25 million.
That is a lot.
That's a lot of money, actually. And in UK, the draft of online safety also required the similar thing. So what I would recommend it to our Malaysian government is to maybe increase the penalty, and also frequent reporting by the mainstream media on this type of detention, because this will indirectly educate the people to know how they need to behave on online platform ethically and professionally.
Nice, Prof. There's so much to talk about, but we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about one of the reasons why this implementation is rolled out is to safeguard our children, is to safeguard those who are probably victims of cyberbullying. But we'll talk about that when we get back.
Because we are a mission-based business and we want to change the world through books. Initially, it just started in Malaysia. We wanted to make Malaysia, contribute back to Malaysia by making it a knowledge-based society, right? That's why we wanted to make books accessible and affordable. But digitalization has increased the readership for physical books because everyone is going crazy. The world is going too fast. Digitalization is really hitting us so hard, right? The phones are getting faster, computers are getting faster, AI and all, right? But humans cannot go any faster. Yeah. So we are being very stressed. So a lot of people are going back to books to wind down, to chill and to relax and to find an escape, how to cope with the fast-moving pace of the world.
And welcome back to On the Table. I'm your host, Brenda Lepal, and joining me in the studio is Associate Professor Dr. Sarah Chinnasamy. We are talking about social media licensing and why it's important to have it here in the country. Now, Doctor, yes, one of the reasons for this implementation is to protect children, definitely, against elements including, online predators, pornography, even cyberbullying. Now, will we further limit social media to those below 13? Now, who will provide oversight for such rules if it's implemented?
Such research proposal always back up with, data suggesting that restricted age limit to access the internet. And this is highly caused by several developmental and also mental health challenges, faced by the children. And there are many data suggested that it has to be restricted, but the age limit between 10 to 15 or 13 to 16, because the stringent age limit is actually to protect the children from skewed and distorted environment. And internationally, we could see that every country has a different way of how they are restricting the age limit. But this one, Brendan, is very much depending on the context of the country.
Right.
Let's say we could take an example of TikTok, for example. We have 18 countries from global north that have been restricted the usage of the TikTok. But it's very much depending on the context of the country, whether they had a lot of child pornography cases, or they had maybe political hatred content, or maybe they could have a lot of cyber bullies, and we haven't touched yet the extended cases from the cyber bullies that could lead to suicide cases, which also happen in our country. But in the European Union, the General Data Protection Regulation, have stated their own age limit between 13 to 16 years old. However, even though the online platform, it's more to self-reporting that you need to take whether you are exceeding 18 years old or not. But it's something that we need to counter about. That's why when we licensing the social media platform, we have to see the algorithm. Algorithm provided by the big conglomerate social media companies. And we know that TikTok, WeChat, they have applied for the social media licensing. But if asking my opinion, I would say that many social media countries, many social media companies, they are adopting every country's rules and regulation.
Right.
They are very familiar, and it's very much depending on the type of algorithm that proposed by that particular social media company on that particular country.
Right.
So that's the most important thing that we need to counter about whether it's really relevant to our context, even though we have 3R, race, religion, and royalty perspectives as well.
Yes.
And the government really need to set an age limit here, whether you wanted to restrict from the age 13 to 16, like the European Union, or you wanted to make it 10 to 12. So we need to clearly define the age limit so that it would be helpful to the family institution due to the growth of the social media exponential in Malaysia. And as I mentioned earlier, almost 28 million are using the internet according to the World Internet Statistic. So it's about post-social media licensing. So what we are going to do next.
Yeah, it's important, and how we identify those steps. Now, when we talk about regulations, now moving forward, what does it mean for business though? I mean, let's talk about businesses relying on these platforms for marketing and also communication, because everything these days is all about using the internet. That's how you make your money. Now, Dewan Perniagaan Melayu Malaysia, for example, or the business community has raised concerns about the disruption of online business. You know, should the platforms itself, particular platforms respectively, face repercussions over non-compliance related to such laws. Now, since 32% of users are actively engaging in online business, how can we find, you know, this balance in this measure?
Okay. I would believe that this phenomenon could be temporary, you know, as we just started licensing the social media platform. But the business community, they need to be aware about what's happening on the online financial environment. There are a lot of financial fraud cases that increasing on daily basis, especially in even in a worldwide perspective. And the most important thing is we need to understand the cyber threats to the financial system is growing. It's growing, and of course it's expecting more new rules and regulation legislation need to be implemented to have a very effective and transparent financial online system. And to that, the business community, they have to adopt, slowly they have to adopt the changes that are happening on technology convergence, because these changes could be temporary for them, and there will be more upcoming challenges that they need to be faced. Maybe now they may be having challenges in terms of the marketing or promoting any kind of product, but when it's when it comes together with the code of ethics, how you wanted to do the marketing and business promotion, definitely it will provide a safer environment for the business community. So this is the part where I would believe that gradually you need to adopt the new implemented social media licensing, and they maybe in the future there could be even more legislation that could involve on the online financial system.
Now, MCMC December last year, they've published Code of Conduct Best Practice for Internet Messaging Service Providers and Social Media Service Providers. Now, following the passing of Communications and Multimedia Amendment Bill 2024. Now, let's talk about this document. How will this document further complement the efforts on increasing digital literacy among the rakyats?
Definitely, it will increase the literacy of digital among the people. Even though we have implemented media literacy, but it's a gradual process. But I would believe that with the conduct of this ethic, definitely it will improve our online system. Generally, when we're looking at the rate of cases that being reported by MCMC, it's actually increasing day by day. And when MCMC initiated the Code of Conduct, I would say that it's a best practice for the internet messaging services, because the whole idea is to ensure to provide providers to uphold a safety online. online security, and particularly for the children and vulnerable group.
Yeah.
And I would believe that MCMC would welcome a lot of suggestions from the public, and definitely we are reviewing the context of social media context, and also public consultation processes definitely will be handled by MCMC. I would believe that as the technology convergence are being sophisticated, definitely we need input from the people how to improve better online safety, especially for the family, institution and the children.
Nice. Now, Prof, before we wrap things up, I would like to ask you this final question.
Yeah.
Shifting gears to just tone down a little bit. Let's talk about traditional media, because we give focus so much on new media, right? Let's talk about traditional media, TV, radio, billboard, etc., printed magazines, if it fits into the traditional media approach. Do you think that traditional media will somehow benefit from this enforcement? Let's bring to the perspective of marketing. Can we expect a redistribution of advertising money into, these traditional platforms?
Definitely, Brendan. Mainstream media would highly benefited from the social media licensing, and we are in an environment where the traditional media, mainstream media, even though they converted themselves on the digital version, but still they are competing with the independent portals and online news. It could be international mediation, or it could be independent portals. And the biggest impact faced by the mainstream media is in terms of digitalization on the news gathering process, and also the second is how speed they could post news. And I would believe that this licensing social media would highly benefited them, because when we're looking at the conglomerate of a social media, big social media company, they used to pick up the stories from the mainstream media and publish in their social media platforms.
Recycle of content in that sense.
Yeah. So, but that have been done for complimentary, and the mainstream media is not charging any amount to them. So when you are licensing the social media platform, of course, it will increase the credibility of the mainstream media, and at the same time, the mainstream media would highly utilized by the Malaysians. And I could even give an example of COVID pandemic. During the COVID pandemic, our media landscape is full of infodemic. There are a lot of fake news, misinformation, disinformation. And at that time, the mainstream media played a very important role to breach that barriers. So I would believe that with the social media licensing, definitely it would benefit mainstream media, and mainstream media would increase the credibility in terms of reporting.
Thank you so much, Professor Doctor. Thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for this edition of On the Table this evening. So we've been speaking to Associate Professor Dr. Sarah Chinnasamy, political and social media analyst from Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, UiTM Shah Alam. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being here with us again.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you.
A repeat of this episode's broadcast can be viewed again at the same time tomorrow and subsequent days on both RTM Click and MyTV's Berita RTM channel. Till next Thursday, where we'll discuss another topic of interest, I'm Brendan Paul, signing off. Take care.